Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to tell you a story that might feel familiar in ways you don't expect, a story about a person who was born into poverty but discovered something far more powerful than money, something that quietly reshaped their entire life. This isn't just a story about struggle or success. It's a story about purpose, about what happens when someone decides that their starting point will not define their ending. The person in this story was born in a small, crowded neighborhood where opportunities were rare and worries were common. Every morning began with the sound of people rushing to work, tired footsteps echoing through narrow streets. Their home was simple, sometimes uncomfortable, and often uncertain. There were days when the fridge was nearly empty and nights when the electricity flickered like it was unsure whether to stay. From a young age, they understood something most children never have to think about: survival was not guaranteed, and comfort was a luxury. Growing up in that environment shaped the way they saw the world. While other kids dreamed about toys and vacations, they dreamed about stability. They watched their parents work endlessly, sacrificing sleep and comfort just to keep the family afloat. Those sacrifices were invisible to most people, but to this child, they were everything. Each tired smile from their parents carried a silent message: keep going, no matter how hard it gets. School was both an escape and a challenge. The classroom offered a glimpse of a different future, but it also highlighted the gap between them and others. Some classmates had resources, support systems, and confidence that seemed effortless. Meanwhile, this child often felt like they were running a race with weights tied to their feet. There were moments of embarrassment, moments of doubt, and moments when quitting felt easier than trying. But something small and powerful began to grow inside them. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was a quiet determination, a whisper that said, "There is more to life than this moment." That whisper became their anchor. Whenever life felt overwhelming, they returned to it. They studied under dim lights, borrowed books when they couldn't afford their own, and asked questions even when they were afraid of looking foolish. Each small effort was a brick laid in the foundation of a future they couldn't fully see yet. As the years passed, challenges multiplied. Responsibilities arrived early. They took on part-time work to help support their family, balancing long hours with school assignments. Exhaustion became a constant companion. There were nights when sleep was a distant dream and mornings when getting out of bed felt like lifting a mountain. Doubt crept in, whispering that maybe this struggle was pointless, that maybe their circumstances were too heavy to escape. During one particularly difficult period, they faced a failure that felt devastating. An important opportunity slipped through their fingers, and the disappointment hit hard. For a moment, everything they had built seemed fragile. They questioned their worth, their abilities, and their dreams. It felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, staring into uncertainty. But in that silence, something shifted. Instead of surrendering to despair, they chose to reflect. They asked themselves a simple but transformative question: what can this teach me? That question changed everything. It turned failure from an enemy into a teacher. They began to see setbacks not as proof of inadequacy but as invitations to grow. With renewed perspective, they returned to their journey with greater resilience. They sought mentors, people who had walked similar paths and emerged stronger. These mentors didn't offer magic solutions. They offered honesty, guidance, and encouragement. They shared stories of their own struggles, reminding this young person that hardship was not unique or insurmountable. Slowly, progress began to appear. It wasn't flashy or immediate. It showed up in improved skills, stronger confidence, and a deeper understanding of their own potential. Each small victory reinforced a powerful truth: consistent effort creates change. The child who once felt trapped by circumstance started to see possibilities where there had been walls. One of the most important realizations came unexpectedly. They discovered that purpose was not something handed to them by success or status. It was something cultivated through service and meaning. By helping others in their community, tutoring younger students, and sharing what they had learned, they felt a sense of fulfillment that money alone could never provide. Their struggles had given them empathy, and that empathy became a bridge connecting them to others. As adulthood approached, opportunities expanded. Doors that once seemed permanently closed began to crack open. Each opportunity required courage. Stepping through those doors meant confronting fear and uncertainty. But by now, fear was familiar. They had learned that courage was not the absence of fear but the decision to move forward despite it. There were still setbacks. Success did not arrive in a straight line. There were moments of rejection, unexpected obstacles, and days when progress felt painfully slow. Yet something fundamental had changed. They no longer measured their worth by immediate results. Instead, they focused on growth, learning, and alignment with their purpose. That purpose became clearer over time. It wasn't about escaping poverty simply to accumulate wealth. It was about breaking cycles, creating opportunities, and proving that beginnings do not dictate endings. They wanted to be living evidence that transformation is possible. This purpose fueled their persistence. It turned ordinary actions into meaningful steps toward a larger vision. Eventually, their efforts began to yield tangible rewards. Stability replaced constant worry. Achievements accumulated, each one a testament to years of dedication. But perhaps the most significant change was internal. They carried a quiet confidence rooted in experience. They knew what it meant to struggle, to doubt, and to rise again. That knowledge was more valuable than any external success. Looking back, they realized that poverty had shaped them in unexpected ways. It had taught them resourcefulness, gratitude, and resilience. It had forced them to confront reality early, to develop strength before comfort could soften their edges. What once felt like a curse revealed itself as a powerful teacher. This realization transformed their perspective on life. Instead of resenting their past, they embraced it. They understood that every hardship had contributed to their growth. Each challenge had carved out space for wisdom and compassion. Their story was not defined by scarcity but by the purpose that emerged from it. As they shared their journey with others, they noticed something remarkable. People from different backgrounds connected with the essence of their experience. Everyone, in some way, faced obstacles and doubts. Their story became a mirror reflecting universal truths about perseverance and meaning. It reminded others that struggles are not signs of failure but opportunities for transformation. Through speaking, mentoring, and simply living authentically, they inspired those around them. They demonstrated that change is not reserved for the privileged or the fortunate. It is available to anyone willing to commit to growth. Their life became a testament to the power of intention and effort. There were moments of reflection when they would sit quietly and remember the child they once were. They thought about the narrow streets, the dim lights, and the whispered dreams. Instead of sadness, they felt gratitude. That child had carried hope through uncertainty and refused to let circumstances extinguish it. That hope had been the seed of everything that followed. They also recognized that their journey was ongoing. Purpose is not a destination reached and forgotten. It evolves, expanding as we grow. With each new chapter, they continued to seek ways to contribute, to learn, and to align their actions with their values. Success was no longer measured solely by personal gain but by the positive impact they could create. The most powerful lesson they learned was simple yet profound: your starting point does not limit your potential. Life is not a fixed script handed to you at birth. It is a story you co-author through choices, persistence, and belief. Poverty had been the opening scene of their story, but purpose had rewritten the narrative. When they encountered people who felt trapped by their circumstances, they listened with empathy. They shared their experiences not as instructions but as encouragement. They emphasized that change begins internally, with the decision to believe in possibility. External progress follows internal transformation. They often spoke about the importance of patience. Growth is rarely immediate. It requires time, consistency, and resilience. There will be days when effort feels invisible and progress seems non-existent. During those moments, faith in the process becomes essential. Trusting that each step matters keeps the journey alive. Another lesson they carried was the value of community. No one succeeds entirely alone. Support, mentorship, and collaboration amplify individual effort. By building connections and nurturing relationships, they created networks of strength that sustained them through challenges. They learned to ask for help without shame and to offer help without hesitation. As their life stabilized, they returned frequently to their roots. They visited the neighborhood where they grew up, reconnecting with the people and places that had shaped them. These visits grounded them, reminding them of the distance they had traveled and the responsibility they carried to uplift others. They invested time and resources into initiatives that created opportunities for young people facing similar struggles. Each time they witnessed someone else take a step toward their dreams, they felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Their purpose was no longer abstract. It was visible in the lives they touched and the hope they helped cultivate. This ripple effect reinforced their belief that individual transformation can spark collective change. Through all of this, they remained humble. They understood that success is fragile and that gratitude must accompany achievement. They celebrated progress without forgetting the lessons of hardship. Those lessons continued to guide their decisions and shape their character. If you were to ask them what ultimately changed their life, they would not point to a single event or opportunity. They would speak about mindset. They would describe the moment they chose to see themselves not as victims of circumstance but as architects of possibility. That shift unlocked potential that had always existed within them. Their story reminds us that purpose often emerges from adversity. Challenges force us to confront our values, priorities, and strengths. They strip away illusions and reveal what truly matters. In that clarity, purpose takes root. It grows quietly, nourished by effort and belief. As you listen to this story, you might recognize pieces of your own journey. Perhaps you have faced obstacles that feel overwhelming. Perhaps you have questioned whether your dreams are realistic. This story is a reminder that your circumstances are chapters, not conclusions. They are part of your narrative, but they do not define its entirety. The person who was born in poverty did not escape struggle by denying it. They transformed struggle by engaging with it, learning from it, and allowing it to shape their purpose. Their life became evidence that resilience is built through experience and that meaning can arise from the most difficult beginnings. Today, when they wake up, they carry a sense of calm determination. They know that challenges will continue to appear, but they also know that they possess the tools to navigate them. Their confidence is not arrogance. It is quiet assurance grounded in lived experience. They continue to dream, not out of dissatisfaction but out of curiosity and ambition. Each new goal represents an opportunity to grow and contribute. They approach the future with openness, understanding that life is an ongoing process of becoming. In sharing this story, the hope is not to present an unrealistic fantasy of effortless success. It is to highlight the power of perspective, effort, and purpose. Transformation is possible, but it requires commitment. It demands that we confront fear, embrace learning, and persist through uncertainty. The journey from poverty to purpose is not measured solely by external achievements. It is measured by internal evolution. It is the journey from doubt to belief, from limitation to possibility, from survival to meaning. That journey is available to anyone willing to take the first step and continue walking, even when the path is unclear. As this story comes full circle, the image of that child in the crowded neighborhood remains vivid. They stand as a symbol of potential waiting to be realized. Within that child existed the seeds of resilience, empathy, and purpose. Those seeds were nurtured through struggle and effort until they blossomed into a life defined not by poverty but by intention. And maybe the most important message of all is this: your life, no matter where it begins, holds the capacity for extraordinary transformation. Your challenges are not barriers to purpose. They are pathways toward it. Every experience you carry contributes to the person you are becoming. So as you move forward in your own journey, remember this story. Remember that beginnings are not destinies. Remember that purpose can be built from the most unlikely foundations. And remember that within you exists the same quiet determination that carried someone from scarcity to meaning. Your story is still being written. Each decision you make adds a new sentence, a new paragraph, a new chapter. You have the power to shape that narrative with intention and courage. No matter where you stand today, possibility is present. It waits for you to recognize it, believe in it, and pursue it with persistence. This is not just a story about one person. It is a reflection of what is possible when we refuse to let circumstances define us. It is an invitation to see your life through a different lens, to recognize the strength already within you, and to build a future aligned with your deepest purpose.